apologies for the handy cam footage. I need to move you around a fair bit for this. I've bolted the frames back together, you can see, in various places. I want to show you the holes. So we look here, we can see that these holes really are perfectly in line, except, it seems, for these. Now, these holes don't feature on the inside cylinder frame drawings, so I'm not entirely sure what they're for. But I tried to use this as a datum first, which very bad luck given everything else is in line. This one was very much out of line, so no worries on that one. These are all okay. These are out of line. These are all okay. And these don't have equivalents on the other side, and these are okay. So I think, in terms of the frame holes, we're okay. I'll figure out what to do with these another time. But what I wanted to check was the top surfaces here. And you can see they aren't really in line. These are okay here. If I go from the top, you'll see that they are, yeah, they're clearly hand filed and they're not in line together. So what I'm going to do is, I think, just run a file across these, because it doesn't really matter. These, like I said, these are just cosmetic. So as long as they are flat with each other, I think we're going to be okay in general. And I'll do the same for the bottom. The bottom is very similar. So I'm just going to take these down. Well, after a lot of filing, we are now in a position where all of the things which matter, I think, are straight. So I've noticed that these two sides of this fixing point in the chassis for the bolster were slightly out of line. This section here was milled, if you remember, when I milled the top of the frames when I had them bolted back to back when I did the horn slots. So if I turn it over, I'll try and put this just in front of the camera. You can see we've got all this down here is nice and flat now. I haven't bothered doing this middle section because there's nothing that registers against it. And here we go, just here as well. And the front section. So that you can see there is not great. That is a bend in one of the frames. Lacking a surface plate, I'm using my lathe bed as a flat thing to measure against. And you can see that this frame is pretty flat. There's no meaningful rock in that at all. I'll turn it around the other way. Same thing, basically, very flat. This frame, however, is not quite as flat. So it looks like one of these ends is twisted relative to the other. So I've marked the two areas here. So it's being twisted across this axis diagonally here somewhere. And the same thing happens on the other side. I did want to finish off the bogie bolster today. There's only a few machining operations left on it, really, just the drilling. But it's basically taken me all day fettling this side of the main frames to get it to a stage that I'm happy with. I have my machine stretcher in there. I have the actual frame stretcher here. I have both the buffer and the drag beams installed. And if I place a machine square in the gaps here for the horns, there's no rock. It's straight as a die. Excellent. And the same for the rear. There's no rock in the chassis anymore, which is a significant improvement from the last time we saw it together like this. Well, I think the hard part's done. Do apologise. A lot of footage went missing when I was recording, which was straightening out those frames, but essentially just used clamps and things and twisted it while it was in the vise. And it seemed to work out okay. That took bloody ages. I think the hard part's now done, and it's now just a case of drilling through the those spotted holes in the bogie bolster and then getting them tapped, and assuming the tap doesn't break in there, I think that'll be easy. One thing I'm not too sure about is how to hold the bolster while I'm drilling it. So I had thought about just using a hand drill with it in the side of the frames here, you know, because I've got that guide, but I don't think I can do that accurately enough. Alternatively, put it on an angle plate and put that in the mill, or try and get the whole chassis somehow supported in the mill and drill through that way, which I think is the best option. But my mill table is only 25 inches by 5 inches, and I think these are about 2'6" by 5 inches with the buffer and the drag beams on them, which make it quite difficult really. Any ideas, let me know. Other than that, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.